So imagine this, you run for president, you challenge a dictator who's been in power for nearly 4 decades, 39 years to be precise. Then you lose. You know very well it was rigged and you have evidence. You have videos, you have testimonies, and you have proof of fraud. But instead of being allowed to challenge the results in court, you are hunted down. The military surrounds your house and you go into hiding. And then the son of the man who stole the election, the military general, goes on social media and says this: "I'm praying you're the next one we kill." And this is not a movie and it's not even fiction. This is exactly what the son of the president said. Bobi Wine, he's a musician, an activist, a presidential candidate, and a man whose only crime is daring to challenge Yoweri Museveni, the 81-year-old president who's ruled Uganda since 1986. Stay with me, because what is happening in Uganda right now isn't just about one election. It's about what happens when a dictator refuses to let go. Let's start with the election. Uganda just held presidential elections. On paper, it was very democratic. Multiple candidates, campaigns, rallies, but in reality, it was a theater. It was a performance designed to give the illusion of democracy, while the outcome was already decided. Yoweri Museveni, who is 81 years old, has been Uganda's president since 1986. That's 39 years, nearly 4 decades. He's older than most of the people voting, and he's been in power longer than most Ugandans have ever been alive. And he just won his 7th term. 7 terms. Let that sink in. The man has been president 7 times, and every single time he's won. And it is not because that Ugandans love him. It is because the system is designed to keep him in power. Then comes Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine is not your typical politician. He's a musician. He's a reggae fan and an Afrobeat artist. And his real name is Robert Kyagulanyi. But the world knows him as Bobi Wine. For years, he used his music to speak against the struggles of ordinary Ugandans: poverty, corruption, oppression, injustice. His songs became anthems in Uganda. The youth loved him, and slowly he transitioned from music to politics. He founded the National Unity Platform, NUP, a party that is built on the promise of change, of a generational shift, of ending Museveni's decade-long grip on Uganda. And the people responded. Thousands of people showed up to his rallies, especially young people, and they were tired. They were tired of the same old man, tired of corruption, tired of a government that served the elites while they struggled. So Bobi Wine gave them hope, and that made him dangerous. The campaign was very brutal. Bobi Wine supporters were arrested and some of them were killed. The military and the police followed him everywhere. This was an act of intimidation, harassment, and violence. The state media painted him as a terrorist, but Bobi Wine kept going. He knew very well that he might die, but he believed the people deserved a choice, and so he ran. Election day came, and the people voted, and then the results started coming in. Museveni was winning, obviously, but the numbers did not make sense. Bobi Wine's team started noticing irregularities. There was evidence of fraud and proof that the election was being stolen in real time. But the Electoral Commission of Uganda stayed very silent. They didn't even investigate, and they never responded. So Bobi Wine refused to accept it. He said that he had evidence, he had videos, and he had proof that the election was being rigged. So he called it a fraud and a theft, and he promised to challenge the results. But now here is the thing about challenging a dictator. They don't let you. Instead of being allowed to present his evidence in court, instead of being heard, Bobi Wine became a target. The military surrounded his home, his wife, and children were inside. So Bobi Wine knew what was coming. He decided that the only thing he could do was to go into hiding. Since Saturday, nobody knows where he is. He's just posting on social media and he's giving interviews, but his physical location is unknown. And that brings us to General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. He's Museveni's son, a military general, the head of Uganda's land forces, and the man many believe will be Uganda's next president. He's very loud and very aggressive. and extremely online. He posts constantly on X, and this week, he turned his attention to Bobi Wine. On Tuesday, just days after his father was declared the winner, Muhoozi posted this: "We have killed 22 NUP terrorists since last week. I'm praying that 23rd is Kabobi." The word Kabobi is the nickname for Bobi Wine. Let me say that again. The son of Uganda's president, a military general, publicly posted that he was praying Bobi Wine is the next person they kill, not even to arrest, not to detain, but to kill. And this isn't the first time. You see, last year, Muhoozi posted that he wanted to behead Bobi Wine. He called him a traitor, he called him a terrorist and a threat. And now, he's giving him an ultimatum. He says, "I'm giving him exactly 48 hours to surrender himself to the police, and if he doesn't, we will treat him as an outlaw, a rebel, and handle him accordingly." Translation of this is, surrender or we will kill you. So let's pause for a second and think about what this means. A sitting military general, the son of the president, is publicly threatening to kill an opposition leader. This is not even in war or even in a battlefield. It's in a so-called democracy. This is not how the governments operate. This is how dictatorship eliminates opposition, and the world is watching. So Bobi Wine responded, of course he did. He posted on his social media saying, "Museveni Son continues to issue threats to kill me. My wife and my people are not safe. The military must vacate my compound." He explains why he's hiding. "My only reason for not being able to go home is to be able to speak to the world. If I was in my house, you will not be able to access me." And he's actually right. If he goes home, he disappears, maybe into a cell, or at worst, he disappears. So Bobi Wine went on. He says that young people are in prison for their association with me and the party that I lead. But I, with the Secretary General and many others, are not detained. This is a crackdown to intimidate, to silence, and to completely subdue the forces of change. So everybody that yearns for change and everybody that does not support General Museveni, this is what authoritarian regimes do. So let's talk about Museveni, because this is not about his legacy. 39 years in power, and what does Uganda have to show for it? Uganda has poverty, unemployment, corruption, and a military that operates above the law. A son who threatens to kill opposition leaders on Twitter, and a population that is tired, so tired, but is trapped because the system is rigged. During election day, elections are just a formality. The opposition is hunted, and the speaking out means prison or even death. Museveni is 81 years old. He should be retired, enjoying his grandchildren, but instead he's clinging to power because dictators don't retire, they die in office or until they are removed by force. And Museveni knows that very well, which is why he's preparing to hand power to his son, Muhoozi. He isn't just a general, he's the Yahya, the prince, and the next in line. Uganda isn't a democracy, it's a kingdom, and Museveni's family are the royals. So here's what is going to happen next. Bobi Wine will stay in hiding because if he surrenders, he's done. The 48-hour deadline will pass and Muhoozi will declare him an outlaw, a rebel, and the hunt will intensify. The international community will issue statements and calls for dialogue, but nothing will change because Museveni doesn't care. He survived this long by ignoring international pressure, by controlling the military, by rigging elections, and by eliminating threats. So Bobi Wine is a threat, not because he's violent, but because he represents change, hope, and a future without Museveni, and that cannot be allowed. So they'll hunt him down, they'll arrest his supporters, and they'll crack down even harder. So right now, Bobi is in hiding, but here is what they don't understand. You can kill a man, you can jail a movement, but you cannot kill the idea. The idea is that Bobi Wine represents the idea that Uganda deserves better, that young people deserve a future, and that democracy is possible. That idea isn't going anywhere. It is the minds of every youth Ugandan who voted for him, every student who chanted his name, and every musician who sang his songs. You can't arrest that. So right now, Bobi Wine is still in hiding, his family is surrounded by soldiers, and his supporters are in jail or even dead. And the son of a dictator who is on social media threatening to kill him. This is Uganda in 2025. This is Uganda in 2026. This is what happens when a dictator refuses to let go, when power becomes hereditary, and when elections are just a theater and an illusion. So Bobi Wine is still speaking his ideas, and the hope survives. And eventually, that hope will be stronger than the guns, stronger than the threats, and stronger than the dictatorship. Bobi Wine might be in hiding today, but the movement he started isn't just beginning. And Museveni, Muhoozi, and every dictator like them should always be terrified, because history is not on their side. And the people eventually always win. So like the video for more people to see this, and subscribe if you want more honest breakdowns like this. This was the Diary of Africa, and I love you.